Hi there, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to call last night's drumming a success in the sense that everything lines up, the tracks look good. I took them into Audacity, pulled them off the computer. And the way you do that, if you don't know how yet, is you just take the USB cable that comes with the unit. I think it's proprietary because one end, it's the weird one where it has a funky end on one end and the regular USB on the other. And with a Mac nowadays, you need the adapter. Well, you go in, hit USB, open the little disc icon, go into audio of whichever track you're working on. I name all mine so I can tell which ones they are. And then I open up the tracks, drag them in Audacity. And I used to do different things, trying to make things happen. But now I've learned that you basically have to get a really good recorded signal. And in that signal, you need to alter it as little as possible, to retain as much magic. At least that's how it works for me. So all I'm doing these days is I'll, say the snare drum track that I just did. Take it into Audacity. If it needs to go up a little or come down a little as far as the amplify effect goes, I'll go up 3 dB, down 3 dB if it's hot. And then I'll usually go to classic filters and cut it off at like 10 or 20 hertz. I don't go too low. I don't cut off too high. I try to keep as much as that bass in there as possible, just to give it. I used to cut off, higher. Felt like it made the drums just have less, boom to them, less ass. All right, so and I did that with the guitars as well, and everything feels hot. It's a weird song in that the guitar kind of sits in a free time space, and then the drums are on beat, and so there's a lot of dead space. But I think it works. We'll see. So what I'll do first is playback, and like I said, I don't do much post-production. I really don't. I don't do any effects or anything like that. Pretty much what I record here is what you get. I don't add. I might add a little reverb and chorus, on the actual channel strip in here, but I don't go to a post. I don't go to an app or some kind of program and do a lot of EQing and any of that kind of thing, adding compression or anything like that. Pretty much what you see is what you get. So I'll first play back. Let me see if I remember to turn this thing on. Yeah, I'm going to first play back the guitars because I did those first before the drums, and I never played them back individually after I ran them through the Audacity thing. And all I did, like I said, was cut them a little bit, all the way at 10 hertz. It didn't cut off much. And then I don't even think I amplified these because they came out hot. All right, so here we go. There's a false start, and I use it as my kind of click off. Oh, and one other thing, I'm in mastering. Important to note, I almost never play back anything nowadays unless it's, that's annoying me, unless it's through the mastering effect. Mainly because the mastering effect just makes everything sound better. It's like, it just sounds better. So let me show you what I'm doing here. I'm going into mastering, and you got to make sure that the input screen is set on master. And the other thing is you got to make sure that your master red fader here is down. Like, you may want to take it all the way down and slowly work your way up, because if you leave it at unity gain at like 100, and then you hit play after you set the mastering thing up, it could be really loud. Either blow up your speakers, blow up your ears if you're wearing headphones. Okay, so we make sure it's in the, and I'm using the first patch, numbers, let me go up there and look at it just to help you out here, number 00 plus alpha. And I just picked that one because it's kind of the most basic. Usually Zoom will give you the most normal, accessible choice first. Like I use mic 1 a lot. In the regular mic one, not the dual mic, but just regular, the first mic offering, I use the first setting. I do that a lot with their stuff. Okay, so first setting, first offering, 00 plus alpha. Then if you go into edit, you've got low and high at 50 hertz and the 3-band compressor, and I'll just put the highs at 5, mid, and low at 5. Then high, mid, low, 5, 5, 5. I've just got 5s going all the way down. That always seems to work. Normalizer, I've got gain at 0. I don't need that. But you can do that. You could do all kinds of stuff I just don't usually normalize in here. 3-band EQ, bass, middle, treble, 555, level 62. Well, let me see if there's any surprises. No. This dimension resolution, whatever the dimension reso thing, it's off. Patch level 24, ZNR is always off. I don't use any noise reduction typically unless, you know, somehow it helped. If you were doing something live, like recording a live thing, sometimes those kind of weird things suddenly help, which you would never do in here, but live you might do it. You know, live sound is very different. Not that I have a lot of experience with it. Okay, so I'm going to exit out, and let's just see. I have a little false start that's like a count off, like I said, and then we'll just see what these guitars sound like on their own for a minute, and then we'll see what the drums sound like on their own for a minute. I'm going to do a little pan EQ work here to get those drums where I want them on camera. You'll see the changes, and we'll just see if the whole thing works together. I think it does after listening to it on headphones, but it'll be interesting to hear it, you know, through the speaker. Okay. I don't feel compelled to add any EQ to that, low, mid, high, or reverb or chorus. It just sort of stands alone, and I've got it kind of turned down. It's really powerful. That's neat. Those guitars sound, I like the way they came out on the recording. Okay, now I'm going to shift gears and go back to drums, and I'm going to go to pan EQ. So all my drums, this is what I always do. They sit in the 17 through 24 third row, you know, because if you look up here at the zoom, it'll say 1 through 8, 9 through 16, 17 through 24. Yeah, and on the 17, and so I call 1724 the third row. That's where I always put the drums, you know, because you're not going to mix the drums live as much as you're going to mix a low vocal live or maybe a guitar part. So they just sit back there on the back, because you know with the zoom, you've got a interchangeable. You've got to hit these modes here to make this little strip work, because it's divided up into 3 sections. So I always just, I don't know why, 9 through 6, I mean 17 through 24 is where I put the drums. And like I said before, I double them. So I recorded 4 microphones, snare, 2 overheads, bass drum. But when I go into Audacity, I'll just pull one off and copy it, drag it back in. So I've got 2 snares, 2 left overheads, 2 right overheads, 2 bass drums. So it's 8 tracks total, even though it's only 4. And I don't know why, it just helps to zoom, because otherwise everything just sounds a little weak and wimpy. Alright, so I'm going to go to 7. Let's just start it up. I haven't done any EQ except to 1 of the snares. The other 7 tracks are unaffected. So I'll show you how much more robust it becomes when you do a little EQ work in pan EQ. Alright, so here we go. Oh wait, I probably should turn on the tracks in order to get some sound. That usually helps. I like to turn them on all at once. So I'm going to put 4 fingers on this side, 4 fingers on this side. It's a stupid little trick, and then go 1, 2, and they're all on. Fascinating, huh? Alright, here we go. Okay, it's a lot to take in because there's so much going on. Alright, so I don't have anything on these drums right now. They're all, except for the first track, I've got 5, 5, 5, and I do that a lot. 5, 5, 5. Back in the day, I used to read that on the Zoom forum. There used to be a forum. It still might be somewhere, but I haven't seen it in a minute. And there was a guy who came on and talked about using this mastering thing, and he used a lot of 555s. And I started trying it out, and it's worked great. This seems to be what the machine likes to do. I have no idea why. Okay, so I've got highs, 5. I'm going to do that on every drum and watch the difference. But I'm going to bring the levels down a little because I'm peaking here. Okay, so we'll have the, this will be, I'm going to just set all these kind of at a certain point and then work them up from there. Then I'm going to start adding 5 to the lows, mids, and highs on the snare. So that cut the snare out a little bit. Now we're going to boost the left overhead. Those are the 2 tracks. It would be this microphone right here, and it was affected by the effect I had, which was big shape, which is big time compressor limiter, just to give you a little more snap. All right, here we go. We're going to do the same thing with that. I'm going to do it when we get going. So I don't know if you could hear that, but I boosted the left overhead. Now we'll move to the right overhead. The camera may not pick up any of the nuance. And that sucks too. Okay, it's snapping way more. Alright, so now I'm going to do the bass drum, and you'll probably not hear that much happen there because highs, I'm not going to do the highs, just the mid to low. I might do a little bit more on the bass, go up to like 7, maybe up to 9 on both channels. Go up to 9. That might be too much. That's big. It's a lot of bass. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm digging that. Alright, so now let's integrate the guitars into this situation. And it was track 5 and 6. Okay, you can see where mixing is going to be really important with that to get the levels right. You don't want too much drum or not enough drum, or it sounds kind of vacant, and then too much guitar. It's like sounding like and I really think that the bass is going to be integral to tying the whole thing together. It needs like some bass foundation in there. It's going to be cool. I'm liking the way the two things are coming together. It was very tricky to picture how it would come together. When putting it all together, I was like worried that it wouldn't sync up, you know, like, I mean, it syncs up, but not sync up mentally, you know. Like, just sound weird. But I think it works. Hopefully it works for people at home that are following the progress. So the next thing will be to take the unit home and work up the bass part, you know, because I've got to come up with something good there to kind of give it that feeling, you know, fill in those gaps like I'm talking about, and then yeah, do the bass, do another guitar. That's going to be essential to have another guitar. Not during any of the rhythm stuff, just during that. The second chorus bass will be like some kind of soloing, you know, additional guitar work over the top of that, because there's room for it at the end. And there's room for it in the first kind of breakdown, and then some more room at the end too to do whatever you want, plus a double singing version of it at the end. So the chorus, the main chorus is 2 times or 3 times, and then that backup chorus is, I mean, the second chorus is twice, and the second time it's a 2-time run through as opposed to just being 1 time like the first time around, if that makes any sense. Okay, so, and then after that, after the additional guitar, it'll be, you know, wrapping up. So I've got to come up with another song. I've got a couple of riffs, but nothing's taking off. I feel flat again, so I got to find something out there to inspire me and get something jumping in my mind. All right, thank you very much for hanging out, and hopefully everything's going okay with the stuff you're doing. If there's any way I can assist you or, you know, put you on the right track, just reach out. All right, next time. Okay, something crazy just occurred that I just had to do it. I was listening back, you know, after I turned off the camera. I was just doing a few, you know, little tweaks and just, you know, checking on the track again. And when I was playing it back, you know, for the camera, I felt like, man, in that second chorus, the drums do not feel like they're syncing up with the guitar part. And it was like subtle, but enough to bug me. It was like a 10 to 20 second section where the rest, and when I was like, maybe I'm just thinking it's off, because suddenly I would hear something that felt so right, and I was like, that's right, so this is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you can't kid yourself any further when you hear the part that really makes it feel good, and the part before it is just not clicking. It was like a subtle thing, but it wasn't coming together. The other thing I started noticing is on the, it's like da 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 da. You got to get right on that beat, and a couple of them, I felt like it lagged, so it lost the impact. So I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the tracks, and I'm like, man, I've already played them back for the channel and everything, but it's not happening. I'd already done everything, you know, doubled them and all that. So I put the headphones down, moved the chair, moved the death chair, put all this stuff back, put the mic back in place. Luckily, I hadn't moved anything too much. You know, everything was pretty much where it had been, and I was able to quickly get the mics lined up and all that. And so I think it was 4 takes. I think I did it 4 times. I felt way more warmed up. And the other thing that saved me is doing the mix on the guitars. I panned left 50, right 50, and when I got back here, man, I could really hear those guitars clearly. And so on that second part, I'm going to play it back, but I think I locked in way better. I'm not saying it's perfect and that there's no errors, but nothing, I hope, maybe this time I'll hear something new, but nothing was bugging me. So, all right, let's see what happens. I'll go past the little moment. There it is right there. Right there. There's still, you know, little moments. That little bit was not played as well on the guitar. Must have gotten off a tiny bit. So there's like a still little wiggle, but nowhere near what that first drum take was. You can go back and listen. The first drum take, that section gets off for whatever reason more than that did. So I'm pretty okay with that, I think. I don't want to worry over it too much. Because I think it's slamming now. That's the main thing I'm looking for, is just a slamming vibe. It doesn't have to be perfect, just a feel. For some reason, that other one, the drums and the guitars felt like they were away from each other somehow. This one just, maybe it was panning those guitars. Never weird things happen. All right, next time. Thank you.